or two more times, then we'll win the game. Tell me one or two more times, then we'll win the game. Maybe somewhere that's green, where the family goes. Yeah. Twisted in your own decay, nothing left to say. Twisted in your own decay, nothing left to say. Maybe somewhere that's green, where the family goes. Maybe somewhere that's green, where the family goes. The family goes. High above them all the time. Someone tell me why. High above them all the time. Someone tell me why. Maybe somewhere that's green, where the family goes. I would like to say our name in the summer rain. I would like to say our name in the summer rain. Maybe somewhere that's green, where the family goes. I would like to say our name in the summer rain. I would like to say your name, girl. Maybe somewhere that's green, where the family goes. Maybe somewhere that's green, where the family goes. Maybe somewhere that's green, yeah. Where the family goes. Maybe somewhere that's green. Ooh.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to The Numbers Don't Lie, a.k.a. Going in Raw Math, the show. What's up, everybody? This week, we're going to be tackling the master and ruler of the entire planet Earth, Sid Vicious, Sid Udy, Sid Justice, Psycho Sid.
It's just
Sid. Just Sid.
Sid.
This
Sid.
is very exciting, and I know chat is very anxious to know exactly where his softball scores lie. I don't know because I'm assuming they're high, but I don't have.
I have no idea what kind of softball player he is. I have no idea.
He might suck. What if he's terrible?
Entirely possible. It's entirely possible he's terrible, or it could be great. I don't know. And here's the thing: for what we do, it's kind of immaterial because this is looking at Sid the wrestler, not Sid the softball player.
Softball player doesn't matter. This isn't a show about
here.
softball.
Fascinating is what it is. Doesn't matter. Sid might be my favorite. I mean, let's be honest. He's going to go down in history as not a terribly great wrestler.
Correct.
But he's my favorite, not terribly great wrestler.
Right. But when we got laid off, we decided to analyze wrestling, not softball. So we're going to talk about him as a wrestler today. It's up to somebody else far more qualified to discuss his credentials as a softball player.
Maybe someone who's actually seen him play softball.
Exactly. So here's the deal. We take all of the input from the Friendoverse. If you join us live on Twitch, you have the opportunity to get the link to vote on these on the numbers don't lie. If you're a patron, $5 and up, you get that opportunity. If you're a YouTube channel member, you get that opportunity as well. And then, of course, they all can watch live and watch after the fact. So if you are watching this right now, it probably means you've supported us in some way, shape, or form. Thank you for that. We'll discuss who's coming up, the potential for who's coming up next week at the end of this show. So let's go ahead and hop into this, Larson.
Let's dive right in.
The first category being good, separated into 3 subcategories. This is the original formula from Bret Hitman Hart. In-ring, promo, and look. Would you like to start us off today with where you think he falls on in-ring?
In-ring. So I'm under no illusions. As much as I like Sid, I'm under no illusions that he's a great in-ring performer. By basically any measure, he's a below-average wrestler. I understand this. But the magic of Sid, if you will, is that he makes up for it in other areas. Pretty much one area that encapsulates the entire mystique that is Sid. In-ring is not it. Never known to be a terribly versatile or well-accomplished professional wrestler. So I gave him a 4 in-ring, just a little below average. I think that's fair because I can't even in good conscience, as much as I like Sid, declare him to be an average wrestler. Yeah,
so here's the thing. I actually gave him a 4 as well. So we're in agreement on that one. And I don't believe that I think 4 is the floor that a wrestler can be and still be brought to a really good match. He has, according to the Dave Meltzer star ratings, he does have a 3 3/4 star match against Shawn Michaels at was Survivor Series 96.
That's a solid match.
And he's also got, I thought he had, well, that's a tag match. I didn't really count those. He also got, I know his, the tag match, Davey Boy Smith and Sting versus Big Van Vader and Sid got 3 3/4. I thought his match against Bret Hart was, okay, that got 3 stars. I was wrong about that. Yeah. So the highest one, of course, is the Heartbreak Kid, probably the greatest in-ring performer of all time.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like if he can be brought to if he's in a singles match that almost landed 4 stars, he's got to be at least a 4 wrestler. Unfortunately, I don't see anything that brings him above that. Like you said, he excels in other areas. 4 is where I have him as well.
Yeah. So we did a little something different for the scores from the Friendo vote this week. Mm-hmm. Since they were they were all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
We kind of did a weighted value situation where we took the 5 high scores, weighted them based on the point value, and determined a score that way. So based on that, the Friendo score for in-ring is 3.9. So not too far off what we got. It's 3.9 as opposed to 4.
Okay.
Basically 4.
Okay, cool.
Basically 4.
All right.
Now let's go to promo.
Promo.
So promo's a tricky one for Sid because he was capable of dropping some decent promos. He had some good promos from time to time. On the other hand, he could deliver promos that made no sense. Mm-hmm. He at one time said that he had half a brain. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure was not what he was intending on saying. And here's the thing. I gave Brett a 6 on promo last week. And the high points of Sid might be higher than the high points with Brett. That being said, Brett was one thing, and that was consistent.
Yeah.
Sid is not.
Yeah.
And while I can think of the high points of Sid's promo work being maybe arguably better than anything Bret Hart has ever done, the worst of it is way worse than anything Bret Hart has ever
Much
done.
worse, yeah.
And if I gave Bret a 6, then Sid has to be a 5.
Boy, so far we're in agreement. This is actually what I did. At worst, he was a 3 promo. Oops, sorry. At worst, he was a 3 promo. At best, in his best moments, he was a 7 promo. You add those up, divided by 2, and you get 5. So that's what I got. I got a 5 for him. For promo.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
The Friendos gave him a 4.1 for promo.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
A little bit lower than us, but, I guess relatively in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
They thought he was a below average promo. Now let's go to the area where Sid excels. Far and away. Look and presentation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if I know this is supposed to look at the entire breadth and width of someone's career, but if you focus on his Psycho Sid era in WWF, dude is like 6'8", pure muscle. He knew that character inside and out.
Yeah.
And while his promos weren't always great, his presentation as Psycho Sid was fantastic. Dude had presence. That is the one thing he had.
Yeah.
He had presence.
Yeah.
He had charisma. He had camera charisma. When he was in that ring, you looked at him. You could not look away.
Yeah.
Dude had tons of presence.
Yeah.
So this look score is elevated because I think the what makes Sid and noteworthy is that presence. That's the one thing he had. He had tons of it.
Yeah.
And so this score is a little high. It's 9.5 for Larson.
Oh,
for
interesting.
look.
Okay. I went a little bit lower. I went with 9 because here's the thing. So for context, when we get around to Hogan, I actually give Hogan a 10 look because he had massive camera charisma. You could not take your eyes off him, but he had that one additional thing, which was iconic attire. It's like those colors, the yellow and red, that became Hogan. If you see, you said this last week about Bret Hart. If you see pink and black, you think Bret Hart. If you see red and yellow, you think Hulk Hogan.
That's true.
Sid didn't have that because he dressed like a young boy.
If I see a body glove elbow sleeve, I think Sid.
Okay, well, that wasn't really an iconic signature of him that really stood out. I thought you were going to say if I saw permed curly blonde hair, you thought Sid, which I would actually kind of agree with. But that being said, it's not you. There is no look that is Sid, that is iconically Sid. So I gave him a 9 because I feel like you take off a point for that one extra thing. He dressed like a young boy. So
In his earlier days, he wore different colored trunks.
Yeah, sometimes he wore like a red singlet. But like,
Yeah.
when I really think of, and that kind of goes along with it, because even at, when he was dominating, he was still wearing just generic tights, so yeah, his look is up there. 9's pretty darn good,
Yeah,
but he
9
didn't
is pretty
have
good.
his distinctive, that guy, he's shouting out Sid. If you were to come to the ring and you wanted to shout out Sid and there was no, argument about it, he's paying homage to Sid. Some people pay homage to Scott Hall with the drippy vest, like in NXT.
Yeah.
They do that sometimes. Damian Priest has done that. I don't know what you do. You dress like a young boy, I guess. I don't know.
I guess so. So the Friendos gave Sid in the look department 8.3. 8.3 for look.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So fair enough. Let's move on to kayfabe.
Well, okay, let's actually get the numbers first then. So add it up and then divide it by 3. My scores, let me just double check and make sure I got this right, but I think I got 4 plus 9 plus 5 equals that divided by 3.
6.
Okay, I do
Ours
have a
is the
6.
same,
Yeah, I have a 6.
I have 6. You have 6. Let me get the Friendo tallies here. The Friendos have... Oh, that's not right. Sorry. Hold,
That's
please.
okay. It's fine. Per mullet, exactly.
Friendos have about 5.4. 5.4.
5.4. Okay, good. I like that.
Being good.
Being very
We have
specific
6.
here. 5.4.
We have 6.
Okay.
Each have 6.
All right. So for being good, that averages out to 5.4 divided by 3. 5.8. Is that how that
5.8
averages out? Is his
for being good for Sid.
5.8. All right, moving on. Let's talk about, like you said, kayfabe.
Kayfabe, go ahead, Steve. You can start us off here with kayfabe for Sid.
I went and I looked at his match, his Pro Fight DB profile, and I ran down his matches once again. I mean, obviously he's dominant. I don't think you can go I don't think you can go less than an 8 with his kayfabe. He was brought in to be he was brought in to be the man. He just never stuck around. But while he was around, he was dominant. Now, eventually in WCW, and to a degree in WWF, he was also kind of the guy that you use to get Brett over and to get Shawn Michaels over and to get Hogan over. That being said, he racked up a lot of wins. He's a 2-time WWF champion. They obviously considered him, which is kind of the point of kayfabe. They consider him to be the man to beat. He's not, I wouldn't put him up there with Lex Luger, who I give like a 9, because like Luger legitimately in WCW beat Hulk Hogan, which again, Hogan's kind of the measuring stick. If you're slated to beat a guy that is supposed to be a 10 kayfabe, then you're going to be pretty high up there. So he's one notch below Lex Luger, who also was another guy who was supposed to be the man. I'd give Psycho Sid an 8. You look at his record, and he was considered clearly to be up there with all the big man names. It's just he never stuck around to see that through. So I give him an 8.
I gave him a 7. Okay. And here's the thing. He won some titles. Mm-hmm. I think his longest title reign as world champion is about 75 days. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he won belts. I like he had granted it was WCW, so they were passing that belt around all over the place. He had a title reign of 1 day. Mm-hmm. The 75-ish days one was his longest title reign of any world title reign he had. Mm-hmm. In WWF, I don't think he had a title reign more than 60-plus days. So yes, they put world titles on him. The one he won from Shawn at Survivor Series 96 was just so Shawn could get it back at the Rumble. Mm-hmm. It was a 2-month thing. Mm-hmm. And then for WrestleMania 13, they put that belt on him because the original plans fell apart, and they needed someone for Undertaker to beat. Mm-hmm, yeah. Like Sid was never, yes, he was in contention. He was always racking up wins. And I know early on they tried to make him the guy in WWF back in the early 90s. By the time he came back in the late 90s, I don't think they were under any illusions that he was going to be the guy. And while he won quite a few matches, he also lost a good amount of them as well. And as you mentioned, he was often the guy there, apart from the handful of world title reigns, to get over guys you really want to get over: Undertaker, Shawn, Brett. So he won some titles. In the end, though, I don't think he was necessarily as dominant as he would seem to be just by looking at him. So I gave him a 7.
Okay, fair enough.
7. Friendos for kayfabe gave him a 5.7.
Oh, that's low. That's low. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at his Pro Fight DB. I mean, yeah, that run in '96 was pretty great. He beat Bulldog Vader, Shawn Michaels, and Bret Hart all in one shot. Beat Bret Hart again on a Raw. Who knows if there was there? I think there was all sorts of interference there. He went on a run beating The Undertaker for a spell. I think a case could be made for either one of yours. Anything lower than a 7, I think would be. Look at that 1990 Clash of Champions. Lex Luger pinned Sid Vicious. That's why Luger's a 9. I don't know. Maybe Yoko's a 9, and maybe Luger's an 8. Maybe you're right. Sid's a 7. But no, I'm gonna stick with 8.
There you go.
Let me
so I had
update
7.
these
You had
scores
8.
here. Hold on. Let me
And
update these
then-
scores. There we go. So I have 8.
Oh, what a great score here coming up.
Got.
So I have the average of the 3. Whenever you're ready.
And then if you can, what's the friendos was
5.7.
Okay. And then the average of all of them?
6.9.
Nice. Good job, Sid.
Nice.
All right, kayfabe of 6.9. Okay, there we go. Off to the races here. Now, let's talk the legacy of Sid Udy.
Legacy. Well, we'll start with the friendos. They gave Sid a legacy of 6.
Okay. All right.
I wasn't that far away from. I gave him a 5.
Okay.
Again, every time he seemed like he was in a position where he was maybe going to be the guy, he can go on a good run, get a good push, he left.
Yeah.
More often than not. I won't say every time. More often than not. The reputation he developed as a guy who'd rather go play softball, fair or not, than stick it out and be on the road for months on end and be champ. He came close to potentially killing Arn Anderson by stabbing him with some scissors.
It's a pretty big deal.
You got to hold that against him.
Yeah.
So while, I think the character of Sid is wildly enjoyable for good and bad reasons, because he's, like I said, he's just as likely he's going to drop a terrible promo as he's going to drop a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Not a great wrestler, but the mystique, the look of Sid was everything.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of a flimsy basis for one's legacy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like his legacy is great matches, great promos.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he carried himself a certain way, and that's kind of it. So I gave him a 5 legacy.
I'm with the friendos on this one. I got a 6 for legacy because he stabbed a guy almost to death, and yet still people finally remember him. Whenever you bring up Sid, everybody's always like, "Oh man, I love Sid." When I was a kid, I think that his legacy was definitely hurt because he chose to chase money in softball over crafting a legacy. He seemed to have zero interest in crafting a legacy. He's strictly a business guy. That being said, in my eyes, a legacy of 5 is just like sort of just average legacy. The fact that still people fondly remember Sid, just anecdotally speaking, anytime you ask them, "Oh man, I loved Sid," I give him a 6 for that because it's a little bit better than average. Despite the fact that he stabbed Arn Anderson, he never sat still, and he wasn't a good wrestler, but still people really, really fondly remember Sid. So I gave him a 6, and the friendos did. I think we're kind of splitting hairs, but yeah. So that's gonna equal to what, like a 5.75 or 5.5 and 2/3.
5.6666666666.
5.67. All right, so that would give him 5.67 plus 5.8 plus 6.9 divided by 3. What is the number on that?
That is 6.12.
6.12.
Sid is a 6+ wrestler.
He's a 6+ wrestler. That does make quite a bit of sense.
Which is totally what I was expecting.
Yeah, it's difficult to think of him overall as like a 5 wrestler, but a 6+. But just a little bit over 6, and it's not like obnoxiously over 6. It's not like 6.9.
No, it's just a hair. Just a hair.
Just a hair. What is that? 5.8 plus 5. Just so I can fill in this last bit here. 6.9, 18.37. All right.
Wow, Lou, not happy with those results. Boo.
What did Lou expect?
I don't know.
Was she aiming for 10s across the board?
Maybe.
Interesting. She also said earlier we got to get our Lord and Savior Brutus next, right? So let's talk about next, Larson.
Yeah, let's talk next. We need 3 names. We can just start fresh every time we have one of these polls.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be fun to. I mean, heck, isn't today Shawn Michaels' birthday?
Yeah.
Let's put Shawn Michaels in there
right.
as one of the candidates.
HBK. Who was the runner up last time? Was it Steiner?
Yeah, it was Scott Steiner.
Let's let the runner up
Carry on, okay.
another chance. Although
And
I
does chat have an idea for anybody?
And then chat please.
Jonathan says tens across the board, boys. Easy stream.
Oh wow!
I wish.
Wow.
Patrick Oliva said Sid also had the "I told you so" about Shockmaster falling down. Rick Sparks here says, "What would you give his look in a softball uniform?" Haven't seen it. I don't know.
I've never even seen him in a softball uniform.
Let's see. Some Hall, some Nash, some Undertaker, Tommy Dreamer, Taz, Punk,
Church,
and Daniel Bryan.
I kind of like this idea here. Church says Vader.
Oh,
I think that's a good idea. That's a cool one right there. Let's go with Vader because right. I feel like that is another one where if he wins out, and I think HBK will probably win. If Vader wins out, that's going to be kind of like Sid, where it's all over the place. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So let's roll with Vader.
All right.
All right. Cool. Good. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. That's your options for next week: HBK, Steiner, and Vader. You can vote on that at the $10 Patreon level because we were told by the people at Patreon that the $10 level is good to vote for.
It's great
stuff.
for polls.
HBK, Scott Steiner, and Big Van Vader.
Yep.
So there's your options. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Later on today, it's Thursday. We're going to be having our Impact stream about a half hour from now. So hopefully you'll join us for that. For people who will listen to this afterwards, we'll see you next time.